Welcome back to Sama, Sisters Against Mental Abuse. I am happy to be back. I know I have to feel like I owe an explanation, but life happens and I'm here and I'm back. This is still my passion. Black women are still my passion, and I'm still gonna speak. I'm gonna speak on this. Today I wanted to briefly share with you all a report from the Chicago Police Department, and this is so unsettling. But I feel like it's something that I knew. Like I knew in the back of my mind. I was like, man, I really feel like being a Black woman, I'm more susceptible to like crime. Like it always feels like when there's some heinous crime, is always a Black woman. So it's just something that's telling us what we need to know. They try to start off and say, oh, well, when it comes to crime in Chicago, who's the most at risk? Who is the target of all this crime? And I'm like, duh, like we know. You know what I mean? So in Chicago, Black women are only 16%. Only 16%, and we are 25% of all of the crimes. And when you think about it, you're thinking about white men, Black men, Hispanic men, Asian men, and then so many other groups of people, so many other different races, white women, Asian women, Hispanic women, all of these other groups, and it's us disproportionately. Because how are you 16% of the population and you are 25% of the crime? Like when you think about that, that's crazy. So we are obviously targeted. So a further breakdown: 34% of kidnappings, 35% of assaults, 38% of batteries, 40% of all R-word victims. That's us. So out of everyone, again, this is not just between Black women or Black men or just among all women. This is among everybody. How are we 16% of the population and 40% of the victims? Like, it's mind-blowing. And you want to hear the most disturbing part of this? 52% of human trafficking victims. Again, Black women in Chicago are 16% of the population, but over half of the victims that are roped into human trafficking are Black women. And I think that we need to sit and think about what that really means. Because yes, this is Chicago, but if we took this data and looked at it for Detroit, and we looked at it for, like, I don't know, Milwaukee, we looked at it for New York, if we like just applying this everywhere in all of these major cities, I'm gonna guess that it wouldn't be too far off. And so when we get further into this video, I'll put the link in the description. When we get further into this video, of course, they talk about, how we're 29% of arson victims, 30% of car thefts, and 24% of property thefts. But they get into a why. And the answer is just not good enough for me. This woman tells us that the reason that Black women are so targeted, she thinks that it's because we work late, so we come home late, and because we're in poor communities. But I I don't understand. Black people are not the only people that are in poor communities. Why aren't Hispanic women facing this same kind of, you know, targeting by crime? Why aren't, white women facing this kind of crime? I mean, anyone, because this is not a race thing when it comes to you not having money. Like, I know that there's poor areas in Chicago that have Hispanic and Asian and different other groups. But so her answer is not good enough for me. It's just not. Do you want to know the real answer? It's because it's the people in our community. The people in our community, the men in our community, and I hate to sound like a man hater, but like the truth is the men in our communities are targeting us. When we look further at data, we see that Black women know their attackers an overwhelming amount of the time. Like, it's ridiculous. Like 9 out of 10 of us, when we are sexually assaulted or something like that, 9 out of 10 of us know who this person is. So it's not some stranger walking up, with a mask and everything. They're targeting us on purpose. These are where our intimate partner violence comes in, our domestic violence situations, how many times have you heard of a Black woman in a relationship with a man, and next thing she's saying, "Oh, well, he tried to traffic me," or something like that. Or, somebody's uncle or somebody that this Black girl or that this Black woman knows is taking part of it. And that's what it is. We don't have protection because the people that are trying to, no, not trying to, the people that are supposed to protect us are not protecting us. They see us as easy targets because we build relationships with these people. We're trusting with these people. You know, this person just got out of prison and we're in his face trying to offer support, trying to be nice. It's time to stop that. It's time to stop, okay, free so and so. It's time to stop all that. We can't. It's too risky. And I don't want to sound like I'm victim blaming because that's not what it is, but we can't trust the people that are hurting us to change their behavior and be good people. And we can't force them to either. So what we have to do is move in a defensive way. We have to start learning how to use weapons. We have to start learning how to, move up the ladder, maybe move to a better neighborhood, start looking at red flags in our intimate partners. That's why I always tell you mental abuse is also a huge red flag because not too long after that, it escalates and it keeps escalating. It does not stop escalating. I didn't get off track. So they also talk about young Black girls. So I don't know if I can play this. I just keep this up here, but I don't know um if I can actually play the clip or not. Um Let me see. They talk about how this has gone on for 20 years. Right? So this is what, like, more than 20 years. It goes back to 2001. This man right here looked back and they say that the pattern has not really changed. In fact, they're starting to, at this point, somewhere around here, they start talking about how it affects girls that are under 18. Young Black girls that are under 18 are in abusive relationships. So there's a teenage girl she was about 16, and she said her boyfriend in high school was mentally and physically abusive to her. Like, at 16, how do you even know, like, where would you even think to do that? But he learned it from somewhere, and he did that to her. And it doesn't sound like she was equipped to handle what that was. She didn't know the red flag. She didn't understand what it was. All she knew is that she didn't feel good. She felt bad about herself, that her grades started plummeting. So that's why I say it's really, really important to learn these red flags and not just learn them for you as a Black woman, but you need to be teaching your daughters the same stuff. Like, what does mental abuse look like and the ways that it could escalate? So they go back and they continue to talk about this, and they find out for every one white girl that is attacked or injured, there were 18 Black girls attacked or injured in the same way. Nobody's protecting our girls. Nobody's protecting Black women, and nobody's protecting young Black girls either. And it goes to show that we are lacking protection, because I guarantee you, like, you're not about to walk up into an Asian neighborhood, poor or not, and attack the women there and think you're going to get away with it. It's just, no, it doesn't go that way. So while this is disturbing, while it's uncomfortable, it may scare you, but you need to hear it. We all need to hear it. And it's not to scare you, but to prepare you. Because like I say so many times, you need to know the signs. If you are uncomfortable, you need to get out of there. Like I said, we don't need to be holding all these long conversations with men who we know are dangerous. Like, I will never understand. Like, we want to be forgiving and we want to be loving, but they play that against us too much. And we need to stop feeling guilty for wanting to be safe. If you don't feel safe around a certain person, don't stick around just to prove that, you're a good person or you're the bigger person. Don't do that. Don't do that. So this data is disturbing, but imagine what this data looks like in your town. You know what it looks like. When you watch the news or when you're on TikTok or Facebook or whatever social media and your town comes up and you're like, dang, again? Because I know I feel that way, like with Detroit, like, dang, again? So look, I just want to encourage you all to be safe and just kind of watch your back. You can't trust other people to have your back more than you can have your own back and your children's backs. So, wanted to bring this to your attention. As always, mental abuse is abuse. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to follow on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We are looking to start support groups soon, hopefully in the fall or the winter. We'll be starting those support groups so that we can come together and talk about these things in more of a private space. So, thank you again for listening.